This is the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
From 98.1 CHFI Studios in Toronto, Canada.
Hey Toronto, this is Ed Sheeran.
This is Kelly Clarkson.
Hi, this is Bryan Adams.
This is Adele.
This is Madonna.
It's Michael Bublé, and you're listening to the Pooja and Gurdeep Show.
It's fun. They're amazing.
You've got the ick. What? Yeah. No. Okay. I mean, it threw me a little that he came dressed as a hip youth pastor, but I still like him. I don't have the ick.
The Ick. I love this. Okay, so this is from the show Nobody Wants This on Netflix, starring Adam Brody and Kristen Bell. We're all obsessed with it in this room. Like, we've all... How rare is it that all four of us have, like, watched a show in its entirety?
We're not alone. It's the number one watched show on
It's
Netflix,
great.
right? For a reason.
Love me some Adam Brody. And they did this. It was very Seinfeldian. They had an episode about the ick. If you're not familiar with this, the ick is the inexplicable feeling you get when you're dating someone and they do something. It could be something they say, something they physically... Maybe you watch them try and play a sport and they're not athletic and you see them and you're like, oh. And it is a moment of no return where they do something so icky that you're like, I'm done. I cannot date this person anymore.
And I think Gen Z came up with ick. Like, we used to call it icky.
Right.
But it's ick.
But it's funny. I've never really put, it's a feeling I've had many times, and I'm sure people have had it about me, but I've never put a term on it. And I just thought it was so brilliant to sort of quantify this inexplicable feeling.
We've all been there. I was actually set up on a blind date. So I saw a picture, though. So it's not really that blind. So I saw a picture and, you know, it was okay looking. It wasn't a problem. And we started talking.
Wasn't a problem. That's so flattering. How are my looks? Not a problem.
You know, he was really smart, which is very attractive and funny. And we were like texting back and forth, and it was really good conversation. And then we met in person. And as we're, you know, sitting across from one another, you know me, I like to make jokes. So I was being funny. And this guy's laugh was horrendous.
It was the laugh?
It was the worst laugh I've ever experienced. It was one of those, like, I didn't want anybody to look at us at our table.
Can you do
kind
it?
Of like, well, I'm losing my voice, but it sounded something like this. So I would be like, oh yeah, and then, you know, they walked out of the bar and it was so fun. And he's like, and there was snorting. There was snorting.
It sounds like an exorcism.
Yes, every time. So then I just didn't want to be funny because I didn't want him to laugh. So it's like, I got the ick, gotta go.
Oh my goodness.
There were no more dates.
It was bad laugh guy.
Yeah, and he was like nice otherwise. Everything else was fine.
It was the laugh that did him in.
Yeah.
Did you at least try to course correct him? Like, hey, listen, here's why this didn't... No?
No.
That's a great ick.
Oh, so what's your ick?
I mean, I don't know if I can top that. I've had a lot of icks.
Long list?
A long list of ick. Well, I'm 41 and single, and I've dated a lot. So, like, yeah, the ick usually is what ends it. Okay, the first one that comes to mind, because I'm going...
do you want to settle down and get married? You're like, ick.
I'm like, ick.
Bye.
No. There was a girl who wasn't particularly close with her family.
Okay.
And she found it super odd that I was very close with my family, to the point where, like, when I go home and, like, see my family once a week and make time for my family, she would, like, question me on it and really didn't like that.
What?
That I was carving out weekly time for my family.
How dare you?
It kept coming up, and finally I was like, okay, this is a sort of irreconcilable. I got the ick to the point where I'm like, I just don't want to see you anymore.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, it ended over. I'm like, I don't even want to see you, to the point where I'm just going to text you that this brief dalliance is over.
Yeah, dalliance?
That's right.
Wow.
It's not the made-up word segment. That's
and
real.
Then she got the ick when you used that word.
The ick can go both ways.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
We all watched the show Nobody Wants This on Netflix. Have you seen this show? Really good show with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, and they had an episode about the ick, the moment in a relationship or when you're dating someone where the other person does something and it makes you feel ick, and you usually can't come back from the ick. We're wondering, when have you got the ick?
Yes, let's go to Laura in Waterdown. What's it for you?
So this one here was similar to a Pooja situation, blind date.
Uh-oh.
He was very good looking and a friend of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to this date and we're having conversations. And I ask him how many siblings he has. And he goes, what's a sibling? And I went, oh, we're done. Nice.
You didn't know what a sibling was?
Nope.
Oh, gosh.
I'm like, I can't. I'm like in that spot. I had no idea what to do, because I'm like, what do you need?
That's so unfortunate.
I'm like, bye.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So you never found out if he actually had any?
No, I had to explain it, but yeah.
Oh, gosh. Check, please. Laura, thanks so much for sharing.
Thanks. Have a good day.
That's a tough one to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, when you're so good looking and you just go through life, you don't have to know what a sibling is.
Yeah, oftentimes people aren't gifted both ways. You sometimes get one or the other, brains or looks. The ones who get both are the unicorns.
It's true. Have you ever had the ick? Let's go to Vanessa in Pickering.
When didn't I get the ick?
Give us your best ick.
Okay, so I must have been in my early 20s. I'm currently in my mid-30s. And someone had asked me out on a date, and my friend had told me, just go with him. He's a nice guy. Now, the one thing about me, very controversial, I do not like the Leafs. I do not like sports. I don't mind watching it, but to me, I don't understand the fascination in it. So someone who is completely addicted to something and has to watch every single game, I don't understand it. So we went out on a date. We were going to go for dinner, and he looks at me in the car, and he's like, hey, do you mind if we just stop out at a bar for a drink? We can catch the end of a game. And I thought he was joking. No, he was serious. So not only did we stop off at a bar, which I didn't mind, but this bar was one of those, like, social clubs on St. Clair.
Okay.
That had maybe 3 people in there.
Not so social. Okay.
Just watching the game, and this was over, half an hour, 40 minutes, and I did it. I did the fake call. I did the emergency. I got to go home.
You got the ick because he wanted to watch sports. Was it like playoffs or regular season?
It was a regular game, but the fact that you knew that I wasn't into sports or I didn't.
Oh, my gosh. Vanessa, I'm a hardcore sports fan, and I'm still siding with you on this one. Thank you so much for the call.
Have a great day.
You too. But, like, if it was playoffs, it'd be fine.
Well, if it was playoffs, then,
You don't schedule a date on a Leaf playoff game night. I'm sorry.
That's true. But then you would get the ick.
If they weren't into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's on me. No dating on playoff nights. Come on now.
Come on.
Maria from Grimsby, when did you get the ick?
A few years ago, I was dating someone. There was little red flags along the way, but the ick was he bought me a wedding cake topper as a Christmas gift.
What?
Whoa.
Is that his way of saying that he wanted to maybe get married to you one day?
Yeah, and then I remember telling my daughter the next day, and she's like, Mom, run! And I did.
Wow. What if he just really likes cake? Wedding cake
Or
specifically.
And it was a precious moment. One of those precious moments.
Maybe he just collects the toppers, but then that would be its own ick.
Yes.
Any of my family listening to this will know exactly which guy I'm talking about.
Oh, man. He's a wedding cake topper guy. Maria, thanks so much for the call.
Have a great day, guys. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
If you collect wedding cake toppers, if you Venn diagram wedding cake toppers and serial killers, there's a lot of overlap.
You think?
Probably.
Okay. It's possible. Let's one more call here. Angie from Toronto.
I dated this guy. He had the most beautiful hair, and I thought he was drop dead gorgeous. We were dating for a while. I was fine going out with him. And then one day he comes to my door, and he cuts his hair off. And then that's when I got the ick.
Wait a minute.
I felt so bad. He was such a nice guy, but I couldn't date him. He was just not my type after.
So you were just dating him for the hair?
No, I thought he was so gorgeous. Drop dead gorgeous.
But like,
I would die for his hair, seriously. And then he cut it, and I said, oh, ick. It's awful, I know.
Angie,
nice guy,
his hair can grow back.
I know, but I just couldn't do it. And it took a long time to grow his hair back again. So unfortunately, I didn't go out with him after that.
Oh, my gosh. Angie.
Terrible, I know.
What a shocking story.
I know. It was a shocking story for me, too, and I saw him at the door, unfortunately.
But you can't help it. You get the ick, you get the ick.
I know. Unfortunately, that's what happened.
Yep.
Angie, that is outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Guys, all the best then. Bye-bye.
The Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
From 98.1 CHFI.
It's not easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many other beautiful things. And grouches tend to pass you over, 'cause you're not all dingy looking like mud in the water or smog in the sky.
It's National Grouch Day, if you haven't figured it out already. And, I guess everybody sort of has a grouch in their life. And I know I'm looking at you right now. And I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey,
I'm totally
hold
kidding.
on. Am I the grouch in the room?
No, definitely
Okay.
not. In fact, I would say that I've never actually experienced you being grouchy. Like it's very rare for you. You're pretty much always in a good mood.
I visit Grouchtown occasionally, but I don't stay long.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a frequent flyer there.
Or if you are grouchy, maybe you save it for like outside of work hours. I'm not sure. What makes you grouchy?
You know what it is? My mom told me this from when I was really young, and I used to get even angrier when she told me it because she knew me, and I hated that. I get hangry. I got hangry before hangry was even a term.
Oh, yeah.
I think when I'm hungry, I'm not myself, and I become a bit irrational, and I probably take things out on people that they don't deserve. So now I just make sure I'm never hungry.
I'm just eating all the time?
I'm constantly eating.
It's a good remedy.
Yeah, what makes you grouchy?
That's actually the exact same for me too. I get hangry, and when I met my husband, and we were in that lovey-dovey stage, the early years.
Lovey-dovey, hangry-pangry?
Well, I was like, you just seem a little too perfect. Like, when are you ever in a bad mood? And he was like, well, don't catch me when I'm hangry. And I was like, same. And it is so true for us. We will fight. If we are both hungry, we will get into a fight inevitably. It will happen every time.
That was when you knew.
That's when I knew.
This is the one.
Yeah.
We both get angry.
Now I'm like playing chess with him. I have to be like a few steps ahead. I'm like, okay, he has to put Sia to bed. It's going to take longer, but I know he hasn't eaten. So I have to like tell him, eat something, have a snack, because it's going to take you longer to put her to bed, and I don't want you to be grouchy afterwards.
Like, here, have a Snickers, then put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul is the grouchy in your life. You've already figured out how to deal with this. That is good. Steph, do you get grouchy at all ever?
I think it's the same thing with just like when you're hungry. I notice it with my kids big time. I think it really affects younger kids for sure. Because if they come home and they didn't have a good lunch or they didn't eat their lunch, I won't even talk to them like, please go eat.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with this because we are all going to get into a fight for no reason.
I feel like every workplace or classroom has a grouch though, right?
For sure.
Like I'm thinking of all the newsrooms I've worked in, and there's a couple people that I'm like, they were the newsroom grouch. They were just always like that.
Every now and then you break through with the grouch, and like you get like a half smile, right? Like a little bit of like a huh, and you're like, huh.
You're like, oh my goodness,
wasn't grouchy for 1 minute.
They've got a funny side.
I must be really likable.
Think about who your office grouch is, and if that person does not pop into your head pretty quickly. I got some news for you.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
There was frost on my windshield this morning.
Really?
No, I live underground.
Oh, because
my car's always pristine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was going to say, me too. Because I used to be underground.
Yeah.
And I do have a garage, but it's full of stuff since we moved in. And I keep telling my boyfriend we're going to clean the garage because I don't like it. There's frost already.
Does the garage actually protect your car from frost? Because garages get pretty cold too, no?
Yeah, but there's no frost or snow on it.
No snow,
The car
right,
will be
but-
cold, but not
Yeah.
as cold as being outside.
Right.
But yeah, I turned on the windshield wipers because I thought it was just like the condensation. And I heard the back go,
The scratchy.
and I'm like, oh, that better not have ruined my windshield already.
I am not ready for the scratchy windshield wiper yet. It's too early, man. This is why I'm never going to leave a condo. Because you never get the frost on the windshield.
It's so nice going underground and then coming here to underground. You don't even need a jacket.
Yeah, you don't have to step outside for the next 6 months. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
To not step. I mean, you and I both have dogs, so that's not
Yes.
realistic. Without dogs, though, you could probably go 6 months and never step outside.
Just keep a pee pad inside. You really don't have to go outside.
It is that time of year again, though, Steph. Like, it's October 17th. Winter tires aren't that far away. My
Yeah.
good friend Cam Woolley always tells me, I believe when the temperature drops below 8 degrees for an average, it's time to get your winter tires.
I'm prepared already.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't take mine off over the summer.
Stop it.
So I just got like my car fixed and I asked my mechanic and I was like, hey, do I need new winter tires? Because I left them on and he's like, they're good. He's like,
You left your winter tires on all summer?
I'm busy.
I'm not sure. I'm no tire expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not good for your winter tires.
So it's not good because of the heat. So if it's in excessive heat, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing it wasn't uncomfortably hot this summer.
It wasn't. My tires are fine. It was one season that I did it. It's all good. Plus, I want to get rid of my car anyways. So I don't
You need
care.
new winter tires.
No, they're fine. They were
All
brand new.
right.
I got them new last year, so they're fine.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you guys a reason to
Don't
be...
do it. I'm telling you not to. Don't do it. I'm not saying it's a good idea. Don't do it, but mine are fine.
Thanks. Yeah, we don't need Cam Woolley anymore. We got tire expert Steph.
Yeah.
Listen, I teased that I was going to give you a reason for optimism, so let me do that. This is what when I used to work weather briefly at the start of my career, this is what I used to call a staircase forecast because it's getting a little bit nicer every single day.
Oh, I thought we were going down the staircase. That's good.
It works that way too,
Okay.
but no, we're ascending right now. What goes up must come down. We'll deal with that next week. Yeah, it's 16 today, beautiful sunshine. Tomorrow's 19. Saturday, we're getting into the low 20s this weekend with sunshine.
So I got to put my all seasons back on.
Just don't touch your tires.
Okay.
And don't do as Steph does.
Don't do what I do ever.
The Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
This is the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
If this were April, when this popped up on my Instagram, I would think I was getting punked. Be like, oh, this is an April Fool's joke.
Uh-oh.
But it's October, and this is very real. There are now Crocs, like the shoes, the Crocs, whatever.
Yeah. They're all the rage.
Yeah, they've been all the rage for years. It's crazy. There are Crocs for your dogs.
Come on.
Now, there are dog Crocs. This is a real thing. You can get matching Crocs with your dog.
So, like when you take your dog out for a walk, you have your Crocs on, and your dog has their Crocs
You
on.
mean when you take your dog out for a Croc? Because that's what you have to call it when they're wearing Crocs.
Okay, so enlighten me. I don't have a dog. Is this a good idea? A bad idea?
I mean, look, I think there's a certain faction of dog owners that are going to love this for their dog. And listen, I am all for dressing up my dog, wearing matchy outfits with coffee. Absolutely.
Of course you are.
I'm all for that. Like, we have matching onesies. We both wore Leaf jerseys the other night for the opening game. Crocs for dogs are really stupid. Like, really stupid.
Wow. Tell me what you really think.
Okay, so here's why. If you have had a dog, dogs hate wearing anything on their feet.
Oh, yeah.
You try putting on shoes, boots.
Every video I can think of dogs in those little booties, they're walking so funny.
Coffee literally runs across the condo when wintertime comes and she sees me reaching for the boot. She runs, and she loves walks, but she hates the boots so much, she would rather forego the walk and stay inside if it means she has to wear the boots. But the boots are a necessary evil because they're waterproof, they're snowproof, they're saltproof. They protect their little puzzies.
That makes
Their
sense.
Little puzzies.
Well, how do you know that, Coffee doesn't like a little fashion? How do you know that it's not going to be, it's the Crocs? Of course I'm going to wear those.
I know she loves fashion because she spells it F-A-S-H-U-N, fashion. But the Crocs are dumb because they have holes in them. So she will be inconvenienced. Your dog will hate wearing them, and it won't protect them. It won't
All
even
the salt
protect
will get
them.
into the holes. You're right.
Yes, unless what are those things that people plug the holes with Crocs?
Yeah, and you can't put gibbets on them because they're going to bite them
I
off.
was going to call them fidget spinners.
No,
That's not fidget spinners. Gibbets.
I mean, if the gibbets are tasty, like if they flavor them, it could be good.
Little treats.
Stuffed treats in their feet.
But that's still not going to protect their feet.
Steph,
They're ridiculous.
you have a dog. Like, are you
no,
with me? These
no,
are
it's
stupid,
not happening.
right?
This is the dumbest thing ever.
Thank
no.
you.
Wow, I guess you two are getting a free pair for your dogs.
That's fine.
Sorry, Crocs, if you're listening.
Not the first time, though, that there are like inventions that probably don't need to be there. Like, I don't know. I just saw this on Amazon. Google one-click butter cutter. One-click butter cutter. You get a stick of butter, you put it in this contraption, you click it, and it cuts the butter for you.
What?
Why can't you just use a knife?
How hard is your butter? You need a clicker to... That's a real thing?
Yes, and then it clicks out a perfect amount for your toast.
The only thing I like about that invention is one-click butter cutter is fun to say, but that is so unnecessary.
One click is all it takes.
I got a couple more dumb ones for you. Who invented pay toilets? Have you ever been on vacation? I see this in Europe a lot.
What?
Yeah, pay toilets where you, I've walked into a bathroom like, no, you got to pay. And there'll be someone standing there. You got to pay to go to the bathroom, or you actually have to put a coin into a lock to unlock the... I'm like... Going to the bathroom is a natural body function. You should never have to pay to do something natural.
But is it cleaner than the unpaid ones? Because then I'll pay.
I don't know. I've never gone in.
Okay.
I've held it. Or I'll be like, oh, yeah,
I would
pay
hope
toilets.
that they're like
That's what I'm going to do around the
luxury
corner.
bathrooms.
Yeah.
And then do you get a gumball afterwards? Like you put a quarter in, you get a
You
gumball?
want to take a gumball out of a bathroom?
Okay, enough said.
I got one for you, too. The vibrating ab belt. I know you probably bought this 20 years ago.
I own it.
Horrible.
No.
Horrible invention.
I'm convinced it will work one day.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
Sometimes you come across a story and you're like, man, you can't make this stuff up. Sometimes life really is stranger than fiction. And yeah, this one goes in that category. So 2 best friends in Florida got pregnant around the same time and then had babies the exact same day. I don't even think their due dates were the same, but it just so happened they had babies the same day. Gets even weirder. In the exact same hospital. These are best friends. And in the exact same room. So this hospital in Florida was at capacity. So the one best friend, I guess, went into labor first. She had her baby and she evacuated the room, or not evacuated, she vacated the room. And then her best friend was admitted to that hospital, and because that room was the first vacancy, she got admitted to the exact same room her best friend was in. They had babies hours apart in the same room at the same hospital, and they're best friends. Look, I don't even know. I'm a numbers guy. I don't know what the odds are of
That's
that.
amazing because me and my best friend both got pregnant with our daughters at the same time. We didn't know. She had hers a month before mine. And then we both got pregnant again, didn't know. And we had our sons a month apart. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty weird, too. This is like next
but
level.
This is better. This is awesome.
Try it a third time. See what happens.
No, we're good.
Has this ever happened to you, Blair?
This was in 1992. I was in Paris with my brother. We were on vacation, and it was during the Olympic year. And so the Olympics were starting in a few days. So we decided we rented a car. We drove 16 hours through the Pyrenees to get to Barcelona.
Whoa.
And we wanted to go see the Dream Team. That was the first year of the Dream Team with Michael
the American
Jordan.
basketball team,
The very first team, the very first time they were ever, the American professionals were allowed to play. So we said, we're going. So we drove straight through. We didn't have tickets. We didn't have a reservation for a hotel. We had nothing. Anyway, we finally found a place to stay. Then we headed down to the center of Barcelona.
But you mean Barcelona?
Barcelona, excuse me.
Yes.
And I said, I don't know where to get tickets because everything was sold out. And the scalper who I knew from Montreal, who used to sell tickets at the Montreal Forum, named Carlo, and he goes, Blair!
He just spotted you?
Couldn't believe it. And we actually got tickets to see the Dream Team.
What? That's insane. You were there with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Karl Malone, and Patrick Ewing, and Charles. That's insane.
All of them, yeah. So we were really lucky, and it was just a freak. We just said, let's do it. We're here. We drove 16 hours straight and managed to go and see it.
And it all happened. You wouldn't have got tickets, but you ran into Carlo from Montreal.
And he recognized
Barcelona.
me. He goes, hey, Blair.
That's insane. That is stranger than fiction. Okay, these are the type of stories we're looking for. Can you beat the story of Blair's, or can you beat the story of these Florida women, these best friends who gave birth within hours in the same room, in the same hospital, in the same day? Can you beat this story? What is your stranger than fiction? You won't believe this story.
The Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
From 98.1 CHFI.
Okay, so two best friends in Florida had kids in the same hospital room at the same hospital, the same day. Crazy odds. And we're wondering, what is your stranger than fiction, you can't make this up story? Getting some great calls here. Laura in Waterdown. What's yours?
So it's actually happened this summer. I have a stepsister who is married to a gentleman, and we actually found out that gentleman is related to my husband's family. So our kids who had no relation prior are now actually related.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What? I feel like I need a whiteboard to write this down to wrap my head around it, but I think I get the gist of what you're saying. That's crazy. What are the odds?
Right? And we've been married, my husband and I, for 18 years, and they've been married for 6, and we had no idea until this summer.
Holy smoke. So your kids that were previously unrelated are now actually related?
Yeah.
What would that relation even be?
So it's his grandmother and my husband's grandfather are cousins.
Oh, man. Okay, I have a headache now, but I think I get what you're saying. Laura, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
No problem. Have a good day.
Getting some wild texts here, too. Listen to this. Good morning, listening to the show. My dad was on a cruise for his honeymoon. They were assigned to a table that they have to eat at for all seated meals. Sitting at the same table as him was his half-sister, who he was estranged with for decades. To be on the same cruise is such a coincidence, but then assigned to the same table? Wild. That is from Steph in Toronto. Holy smoke. That gives me goosebumps. Let's do some more here. What is your stranger than fiction, you can't make this up story? Gary in Uxbridge.
Years ago, I traveled with my mom, and we're going down to Prince Edward Island. We're going on a 2-week tour, sort of through. We get a book a bed and breakfast in Prince Edward Island, 3 rooms in the place, and we show up, and there's another family, another couple there, that are from about 4 blocks away from where I live. And then about an hour later, another couple show up for the 3rd room, and they live about 10 blocks away from where I live.
In the GTA?
In Ajax.
In Ajax. What? So you're at this tiny bed and breakfast in PEI with 3 rooms, and all the rooms are from people basically in your neighborhood?
From my neighborhood.
What the heck? And you guys had no previous knowledge of these people going there?
No idea.
Okay, that's weird. Gary, thanks so much for the call, buddy.
You have a great day.
Your stranger than fiction stories. Listen to this text, another crazy one. This is from Ed in Bolton. My friend Ed Smith hit a girl skiing one time because she came flying in, and then 20 some odd years later, they meet, not knowing until after the day he married her that was the same kid he hit while skiing 20 years prior, still together to this day.
Before?
Isn't that insane?
Yeah,
Imagine
that's
telling that
crazy.
story, being like, hey, when I was a kid, I like hit someone. She's like, no way, I got hit. Oh, what hill was it at? What year was it? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
How is that even possible?
That is meant to be.
Holy smoke. I know we're tight on time. Let's do one more here. Carol in Scarborough, what is your stranger than fiction story?
Well, in 2010, I was in Vancouver for the Olympics. I'm a figure skating coach, and I had skaters skating in the event. And we were getting ready to start marching in the opening ceremonies. There were hundreds and hundreds of people. Backstage, we were the last country to walk in to the big stadium. And I knew that my friend's daughter was one of the dancers in the show that was going on, in the opening ceremonies. And I thought, what are my chances of seeing Amber? I'm never going to do that. So we were the last country. We were coming out of the tunnel. It was the most incredible experience. The lights were flashing. I can't even describe it. And I'm walking out, and all of a sudden, I heard a little voice go, Mrs. Lane, over here. And I turned around, and in the sea of all these people, there was Amber Fraser. And I ran out of the line, which I shouldn't have done, and she ran out of her line, and we gave each other a big hug, and then I just carried on walking. It was amazing.
Come on. There must have been thousands of people and security and
there
chaos, and that is wild. That's needle in a haystack.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's such a nice, warm story. I love that. Carol, thanks so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
Okay, you tell me if this is weird. I thought it was weird. I had something very strange happen yesterday. So a buddy that, I see somewhat regularly, hadn't seen him in a couple of months, drops me a text yesterday. And he goes, hey, you want to meet up for a coffee? I'm in your neighborhood. I was like, okay, well, he's in my neighborhood. And I was free around that time. I was like, let's do it. So he tells me what coffee shop he's at. And I head over to meet him. And it's him, but he's got like a table for 4. It's just him. And he's got his laptop. He's got his coffee. He's got like some snacks.
Well, like he's camping out?
He's got a lot of stuff. He's got his like little like man purse. He's also got a Merce. It's like quite the setup. He had to shift stuff over so I could sit across from him.
Okay, one person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at, and we met at 12. And then I noticed he kind of started wrapping things up around 1 o'clock. Like he's like, all right, cool. Well, this has been great. And I was like, looked, and it's like 1. I'm like, and I was getting up to leave, and he was just there. And I was like,
he didn't leave with you?
No, I'm like, are you sticking around? He's like, yeah, I just got some work to do. I go, hold on a second. Did you just invite me on your lunch break at your quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, work? Like, is this? He goes, yeah, I've been here all morning.
Oh, no.
I'm like, you've been here all day and you're staying, like, you're doing like a 9 to 5 shift. Like, this is your remote office.
Not
and he's like,
laptop guy, no.
No. And then I'm looking around, there's a couple of wrappers, and he had like one coffee, and he just posted up. And I'm like, and this is a busy, popular coffee shop.
There's nothing worse than that. When you go get a coffee and there's no seats because everybody's working.
This is what I was thinking. I'm like, is this okay? Like, how long is it okay to post up?
Did he have like his family in photo frames on the desk as well? Was there stationery?
There was. He didn't go that far.
Okay.
I don't know if this was a regular haunt for him or whatever, but like, and I don't know if I was reading into things, but just sensing the vibe. Like the people standing around looking for seats, like there was a few people kind of glancing over. Like I was feeling the eyeballs burning through the back of my head, going like, "Hey, are you guys getting up? Like you've been sitting there for a while."
Hey, man, can I borrow your stapler?
Yeah,
like was that happening?
It was that vibe. There were a couple of people doing the hover, being like, "Is this dude wrapping up?" Like he was not wrapping up.
That's too long. And how much is a coffee?
At this place, like $8.
Okay,
yeah.
Even for $8, that's too long.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It was like an 8-hour shift he put in. I thought I was pushing it at 1 hour.
Yeah.
For my flat white that I ordered.
Yeah. So how long is too long?
That's what I was wondering. I don't know. For me, I'm thinking, and I've never posted up all day in a coffee shop, but I'm thinking like every 90 minutes, you probably got to be ordering like a drink that's about $8 or something. Is that
makes
stupid?
Sense. No, I think that's fair. I think it's fair. And stop taking up 4 seats when you're one person.
Yeah, why did he sit at the 4-seater table? I found that super weird. He was probably in there early enough that I don't know.
And did you knock before you came in?
Thanks for listening to the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
Listen to Pooja and Gurdeep live weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Only on 98.1 CHFI.
Toronto's perfect music mix.